Oh, we're live.
We're live.
You know what happened? Hello, everyone. We are live. Okay, what happened was LinkedIn made me go and re-sign on so that it would go live on LinkedIn. And so I didn't see us go live. All right, everyone. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we are 19 seconds into our live already, but I feel like I want to go check and make sure we are actually live. So give me 1 second, Robin. Okay, I just got noticed that we are live. So welcome everyone. Good morning. Happy Monday. I am here today with web designer Robin White. I am Nancy Ganzikoffer, business coach. And today is a very important day because we're talking about service pages on websites, right? And how to go from sort of blah, ordinary to extraordinary.
Exactly. I love that. Ordinary to extraordinary. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
fantastic.
what we want for everyone, right? Because no one's going to go and hire someone when they look at their website and kind of think, I don't get it, or, you know, it doesn't make sense to me, right? So the services page is really important, correct?
It's so important. And like you said, it's so important to be crystal clear about what your services are. And even if you offer lots of different services, you may not want to include every single one of them on your website, or you might want to batch them together somehow because we definitely don't want to confuse a visitor to your website. And you don't have to give them all of the information. You can save some of that information for the discovery call, but your services page is one of the most important pages and one of the most visited pages on your website because obviously people are looking for your service to help them with a problem that they have. And it's where you bring your prospective clients from where they are today to where they want to be. So,
Okay.
selling the transformation is what is super duper important on your services page.
Okay. And most people who watch us live or on replay know that for these website makeover lives that we do, we ask for a volunteer, we choose one of their pages, and you go through and you make recommendations on how they can improve the page.
Right.
Okay, so
Exactly.
who do we have today?
So today we are talking about Interiors by Heather B. And Heather Bates is the owner and designer. Yep. So
Hello,
we all
Heather. I see you're here already.
hi Heather.
Heather, if you click the Be Live link that's in the description, it'll help us see your name when you comment. So, all right. So I'm excited to get started with this. I actually brought Heather's website up on my computer so I could share it with everybody while you talk about it. But I was a little surprised because it's different from the website that when I was working closer with Heather, she was a different website, I believe. So, Heather, you can weigh in on that or not. But let me bring up her page and let's get
Great.
started talking
Thank
about
you,
service
Nancy.
pages. Okay, give me 1 second.
There we go.
Okay, we're going to keep it up on the screen, even though it's small for everybody, because it's not going to be up for too long. Let me just go back and then I can scroll a little bit. So go ahead, Robin, start to
Okay.
talk a little bit.
Yeah. So the reason that we're doing it in this format today is Heather's got a pretty small content services page. So I think rather than Nancy and I disappearing, we thought it would be really helpful to keep us all up. So I'm just going to talk briefly about what Heather has here, and then I really wanted to dive into 7 elements that I think make a really effective services page, things that Heather can add on to her services page to help it become extraordinary.
Yes,
So
and I'm still here, Robin. I just wanted to let the page show a little larger in the beginning, and then I'll bring it smaller again once you give the good parts of the page.
that's great. Thank you, Nancy. So it's great that Heather has the title services at the top of her page. So when visitors land on it, they know where they are. That's wonderful. Something that I think is really important on a services page is the headline. That's what we're looking at here. And what you want to do here is really be bold and present your offer above the fold. Above the fold is the part that people see before they actually scroll down. And that's the really important part of the page. And what you want to do is make a really clear statement about the outcomes that you offer. Immediately differentiate yourself from every other interior designer in your area who you're competing for business with. A lot of services pages don't do this. So if you can actually be bold and state that outcome at the top of the page, you're really setting yourself apart. And that's what you want to do. Make yourself unique. You want to offer the transformation that your service provides, not the nitty-gritty of what's involved in it.
So do we think Heather did that here?
I'd like to see more there. I'd love to see more visual interest as well. So not just the word services, but also an image. Interior designers have fantastic photos. I like to see them used across the entire website whenever possible. So I would do a big hero image with text overlay, or have 2 columns, an image and the text next to it, but something to really grab the interest of the visitor as soon as they land on the services page.
I just feel the need to make it bigger again, just for a second, right? So I'm going to stop my video and stop your video for a second, because I feel like I want to show that one of the things I think is cool, that Heather has her phone number in the top left corner, if that's the way she wants to bring in business, not through her website contact page, but through her phone number. She has that at the top.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that?
I love that. I think it's wonderful to have contact information at the top for sure, whether it be phone number and email, just email. What I would recommend, though, is removing the social media icons from the top and just having them in the footer. And the reason I always say that is the goal of social media is to drive traffic to your website. The last thing that you want is for someone to land on your website, get distracted, and bounce off to Facebook or Instagram, because that's going to increase your bounce rate in Google's eyes. So that's no good.
Yes. Okay. So having the contact top left-hand corner, she has her phone number. Could be a good thing if phone number is the way you want people to contact you, or another option for them. But when it came to kind of like what you were just talking about, the final result of your services, we're missing that here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'd love to see that added in.
Okay. So I'm going to say, in general, what we like about the services page is that it says the word services.
Yes.
And the phone number's up there if that's the way she wants to be contacted.
Yep. Yeah. I love that she has an image, a 2-column setup here. And I'm going to go more into what I'd love to see on the page. And then I really like that she has an FAQ section, because that's something I do always recommend that people have on their services page.
Okay. So we like the FAQ section. Now, Heather did mention that she read an article in Business of Home that they want to see the social media icons up top. And I'm going to just address that in general, because everyone has an opinion.
Yes.
And you can take the opinion of every single article you read. And Heather, this is a big pet peeve of mine, right? There's so many coaches out there. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of different web designers, a lot of people, social media marketers, and everyone has their opinion. And when it comes to this, I actually think this is an opinion, but I agree with Robin. I don't want people bouncing off my website until they've read, what it is I just can do for them. And this is why the services page is so important.
Yes. Okay. Exactly, right. Nancy.
Okay.
There's so many different opinions out there, and web designers will have different opinions and tell you different things as well. And, everything is really a personal decision, and it comes down to what's going to work best for your business and your brand. But I would say, the number one goal of 99% of websites is not to drive traffic back to their social media accounts, which is
right.
Why
Google's reading how long people stay on your site. So if they're immediately bouncing off to a social media platform,
that's going to drop your rankings instantly.
It's going to drop your rankings.
Yes,
so logically, it just doesn't make sense.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else? Other reason why I want to keep Heather's page up at this moment, or should we bring it down and then just kind of go over the 7?
I think we're okay to bring it down and go over the 7 elements. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that, because I think, Heather, I do think your page needs to be expanded on the 7 steps that Robin has, that we're going to talk about next, is going to be very helpful for you to follow if you choose to redo your website. So let me hide this. Okay, so let's go over the 7 elements that a services page should have. Heather did certain things very well, but there is quite a bit missing that we would recommend.
Yes, absolutely. So we already talked about number 1, which is the headline, and having that strong headline to really set yourself apart and, show what you do right away at the top of the page, definitely with an image to add visual interest.
So this is your tagline, basically.
It can be your tagline, or it can be anything that's going to draw people in and share the outcome of your services.
Yeah,
Right?
because I see she says we design colorful residential and light commercial projects, transforming your spaces. Like maybe transforming your spaces into stunning and fat, like make it a headline, something that people can really, the scanners will spot instead of
Yes.
having to read.
Yes.
Okay.
Large type, with an image there. Exactly. Capture their interest right away so that they continue to scroll down the page to learn more. Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
The second section that we want to have is showing that you understand. This is where you're showing that you empathize with your ideal client and you understand where they are right now. So this is where you can show that you understand what they're struggling with, what their pain points are, and letting them know they're in the right place because your services solve that problem, right? So the reason we want to have a section like that is it makes the visitor to your website be like, oh my gosh, she gets me. So it pulls them in because this is a section that's about them and where they are. And you're showing what you can do to change that for them. So they're going to keep scrolling down because they see themselves in what you've written. And this is where understanding who your ideal client is so important.
Understanding the words they use, the struggles they have. I want to go back for 1 second, Robin, because I realized I misunderstood something Heather said. Business of Home article said that this is what brands want to see, is what I read. And I realized as you're sitting here talking, Heather might be looking for brand partnerships for furnishing for manufacturers. And if that is the case, that could be a different type of advice. That is not the advice we are focused on now. We are looking at getting residential homeowners or commercial work to an interior designer, which the website services page was a little lacking. So we're trying to give those tips. But when it comes to attracting brands, that's a whole different live that we.
Exactly. Exactly. Because then I think your social media really matters an awful lot.
If you have a really big following is what the brands are really looking for. So I don't know if that matches, but I just wanted to give that distinction.
Thank you, Nancy. So you just want to be really clear and concise about why they should hire you, how you can help them. That's what was the second element. The third element of a really successful services page is something that we always talk about: social proof, testimonials. Have a testimonial or two from clients in the next section. And, depending on how many you have, it can be one, it can be a carousel, a slider of testimonials, excerpts. You want to keep it short and sweet, and you want the excerpt to speak directly to your services, how your services helped, how great your services are. So, read through all of your testimonials and pick the right excerpts for the services page.
Yes.
But that's super duper important.
It is. And again, it's kind of, I feel like it's a little flat right now. Like we want more interaction is in everything you're suggesting. It sounds like just more interacting, like letting them see themselves in your final result, letting them see themselves in your service model, right?
Absolutely. It's all about them and how you can help them. And, even when you're writing the copy, I'm not a copywriter, but you want your sentences to be you, not I, we, right? And there's ways to kind of take the I's and turn them into we's.
Okay, good. So Heather because Heather, if you've been watching our lives on websites, it really is important to sprinkle your testimonials throughout. And like Robin said, fine tune them to match the page that you're displaying it on. So you can move them around.
Exactly. Next, I would say you want to highlight your process. And Heather, I know that you have information about your process in your FAQ section. So while I love that you have an FAQ section, I would actually recommend pulling the question about your process out and making that a section on the website, because process is a way that interior designers can show their uniqueness, show their expertise. When a potential client visits your website and they see that you have a clear 4-step or 6-step process, that shows you know what you're doing. You've done this before. You've got a way to make it happen to end up in a good result. And I'm not talking about going into all of the nitty-gritty of each step. This is more of like a high-level overview of what your process is, but this can set you apart. This can make you unique. We all work in a unique way. So this is something that I think is really important to highlight on the services page and not hide in the FAQ section.
I agree. Having it right out where they can read the step by step, and having a title on each step. So
a title, you can number it. You can do, step 1, phase 1. You can use Roman numerals. You can use icons. You can use an image that illustrates what that step is. So there's so many different beautiful ways that you can design that section to make it really visually interesting as well. But, a headline with the name of the step and then some text about it. So again, we're appealing to all buying types, the ones that skim, the ones that want to read every last detail.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. And we have in our essentials, our membership site, we have a step-by-step through the design process from a client's perspective, like what they actually want to see, as opposed to what it really takes, which is way more steps than you really want to show a client, right?
Absolutely.
High level steps. So.
I mean, that's something that can be in your welcome packet or the how we work packet, things like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So element number 5, now we're finally getting to talking about your services. So this is where you want to share what your services are, how they're going to make your potential client's life better or different. Maybe a couple of really compelling details about the service, who it's for, why they would need it, why they should choose you to perform the service. But again, we don't want to outline all the little details that are included in the service. We want to share how the service is going to transform their lives. We want to appeal to them on an emotional level. That's what gets them to buy into it. Yes. And one other thing I would love to add here, Nancy, is depending on the kinds of services that you offer, you may be best served having more than one services page. So if you do, for example, let's say full service interior design, and let's say you do window treatments, and let's say you work with builders as well. Here we've got 3 very different audiences that you're speaking to, 3 very different kinds of services that you're selling, 3 services that people will search for very differently on Google. So because of those 3 things, you may want to have services in your menu with a drop down to the 3 pages, because then you can speak directly to the client that service would appeal to. And also for user experience, the builder doesn't really want to read about your full service or your window treatments. They just want to go to the page that's about them.
Builder services. Yeah.
Exactly. So it makes them, visitors finding information they need, easier. So that's just something to think about if your services are very different. Same with, full service versus color consultations. 2 really different investment levels, different kinds of clients searching for you differently. So that's just something that you would want to think about when you're doing your website architecture and deciding what pages belong on your website.
Okay. All right. So Heather did have this idea, and she's starting to build the builder's page in the background, but it's not turned on yet. I think that's a great idea. And it's interesting because I do think even the designers who do designer for a day, designer on call, or full service design, new builds, renovations, kitchen and baths only, window treatments only, I was art framing and accessories only. Like, it's definitely, there are different needs. And when I think on Heather, she said light commercial, right? So commercial work could be a separate service. Builder assistance can be another service, or whatever you do for the builders. And then you have your full service or renovations or new build design. Like, so it's interesting. I haven't looked at it that way before. So that's new for me.
There's so many different ways you can break down your services. I mean, you can be as simple as residential commercial. So it really depends on your business, your business model, your brand, who you're trying to appeal to. And I think if SEO is something that's really important to you, that's a reason to think about it in terms of keywords and how people would be searching for the
Right,
service.
and SEO should be important to everyone if they're not getting 100% of their business. That's making them happy through referrals and other
Yes.
sources and networking. If they're looking at their website as being one of their primary sources of getting business, then your SEO has to be worked on constantly.
Constantly. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Okay.
back to that services section, it's really focusing on benefits, not features. That's super duper important. And again, using your beautiful photographs, illustrate what you're capable of. There's so many beautiful ways that you can design services sections, whether it be, the title of the service, bullet points with an image next to it, an image in the background with text over it with a background overlay, but use those beautiful images and keep that visual interest for the visitors to your website.
Definitely. Okay. All right.
Number 6 is to have an FAQ section, and Heather has done a wonderful job including that on her website. But this is a really helpful section for clients, and one way that you can think about questions and answers to include is think back to prior discovery calls that you've had with prospects, and what kinds of questions are they asking you over and over again? What are you hearing repeated over and over again? That's what you want to include in your FAQ. And that can be a great place also to get your keyword phrase that you're using for search engines on the page in the content more is in the FAQ section.
Yes. And the FAQ section is very valuable for SEO as well, search engine optimization.
Yeah. And Heather has hers set up great where she's got the question being shown, and then you click on the little icon and it drops down like an accordion style and shows you the answer. That's a wonderful way to design that section.
So Heather's saying it's always about the cost. Like that's the question everyone always says. So I always say the same thing. You say, I do my best to keep my prices at or under retail, or in this case, the higher level would be I have different service models for different needs. Let's meet and discuss.
Yes.
Or
as I say, I custom quote all of my projects. So we would need to chat so I can find out exactly what you need.
There you go. So yeah, it's always about cost. And the bottom line is you really can't give them an answer just from your website, nor should you. So it's creative language and politics to get them.
And I'll also say you don't want to share your cost necessarily, because
I don't think so.
when they're shopping based on price, that's a head decision. We want a heart decision, an emotional decision, where price is sometimes less of the equation, right?
Yeah, because it's more about the person they're working with, someone who they know is going to be in their home, and they want to know they can tolerate this person and they like this person. So it's not always just about price. And if anyone out there watching thinks it's always only about price, you're not correct. It's not the way it is. It's not just about price. It's about who they think can really get the result that they want and having the confidence in that. So your website really, and your services page particularly, helps or hurts that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the 7th element that I would love to mention is having a call to action. And every page needs a call to action. And Heather does have a button on her services page with a call to action. I think it says learn more, or I can't remember exactly what it says.
Hold on, I'm going to go look. Tell us about your project.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm guessing that's probably connecting them over to her contact page where they can get in touch with her, fill out the form. That's generally the call to action that you're going to want to have on your services page, because your goal of your website is most likely to get them to contact you to book that initial discovery call. So
okay. I just also want to point something out, Robin. I just clicked on the contact page. I don't know why it's not switching up on the screen here. Hold on. Because it really does not show the way I think Heather thinks it's showing. Heather, go check your link, because once you click that button, there's all kinds of, for some reason, it's not sharing properly.
Yeah. The link might need to be updated.
It's just not formatted well at all. It looks jumbled, and some of it can be read, but it's not great.
Okay. So. But at least Heather was trying to have a call to action on her page.
Yes, and that is a good thing.
Yeah, and that's something that we definitely want to have there. And again, like I said, generally it's to have them contact you, and you just want to make it very simple and easy for them to do that.
Okay, so run through the 7 things as we close out here.
Yeah. So we've got your header, your intro, where you're really, being bold and saying exactly what it is at the outcome of your service.
So
Then we've got,
services page, what they can expect as almost like a tagline, the end result of what your services can do for people. Okay.
exactly,
And then,
exactly. Number 2, you want to show them you understand. So this is where you're empathizing with them, showing that you get where they are. Number 3 is the social proof, so the testimonials. Number 4 is your process. Number 5 is where we're actually getting to your services. Yep. Number 6 is your FAQ.
Yep.
And number 7 is your call to action.
Okay, so Robin just laid out for all of you watching live or on replay, and we were reviewing Heather Bates' services page on her website. So go back to the beginning and watch if you'd like to see our assessment of the good things that Heather did great and the things that can be improved. But overall, these 7 things are something, these should be on your services pages.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And you want to have a really good amount of content on your services page, on all of your pages, because again, if you are, and you should be, trying to rank in organic search, Google wants to see high quality content, and they're really looking for a decent amount of words on that page.
Yes. Okay. These are great tips, Robin.
Good.
I hope that Heather got a lot out of it, and anyone who's watching also gets a lot out of it, because we all know that people do their own websites at some point in the beginning usually, and then as they get business, they hire a professional to do it. And that's really the right way to go when you can. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I know some people can't, but it's the right way to go when you can. So you're welcome, Heather. Heather just said thank you.
You're welcome, Heather.
And I can't wait to see your new revised services page, Heather. So when you do that, let us know, because we'd like to take a look at it. So, definitely. All right, Robin, thank you so much for doing these. And next month, we have quite a few people lined up for the next couple of months.
We've got lots of people lined up, I think, through next spring. So we've had tons of volunteers, which is great. I'm glad people are enjoying these mini audits.
Yeah, and I love to see my Profit Insider Academy people going out for these audits, because it just helps them in their journey, right? The year with me, they get that extra little bump up of the attention that they need on their website from you also. So I love that.
And if anybody else wants to volunteer their website for it, feel free to drop something in the comments here or message me, and we can add you onto the list.
Yes, if you would like your website, one of your pages on your website to be reviewed live with Robin and myself, please put your website below, and Robin will be in touch to let you know what month your website page will be reviewed. So, all right. And how do they find you?
They can find me on my website, which is rdwdesignstudio.com. And they can also find me on Instagram, where I'm really active and I post lots of tips, and that's RDW Design Studio.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Robin. And as usual, I have referred so many people to you as a web designer, and so much happiness, so much satisfaction, and so much difference in how they feel about their business, which really gives them the confidence.
Yes.
To go out and be their business.
Yeah.
Right?
When you have a website that you're proud to show off, it really does help with that confidence level.
It does. It's huge. So, all right. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Go have a great Monday. And I am actually live later as well this afternoon talking about copywriting. So, all right. Talk to you.
Thanks, Nancy.
All right. Bye, everyone.